Go into any jewelry store, I'm almost talking anywhere in the world. Seriously, it's just super boring. It's the same 15 brands.
They hear lab-grown diamonds and they think, oh, that's greener and healthier because there's no mining. And some lab-grown is greener, but it depends on how they power the plants. The depth of the work that FairMined does was beyond my knowledge before I became involved in this. People want to know what's going on behind the scenes, right?
Being a part of this, you just realize how much goes into one single design, how many molds, how many tests, how many tries, because it's really difficult to do it from the bottom and create something unique.
I'm so happy to meet you.
The same.
My idea about it, and by the way, I've been drooling over your website and your Instagram. You travel very nicely.
Thank you.
But my idea was, what everybody's interested in is really the people behind the businesses these days. And I'm so in love with learning and asking questions, and I'm by no means an expert. And we both are involved in FairMined 100, which is a fantastic initiative, but I'm in no way looking to provide a commercial, but more like provide what everybody's really curious about, which is, who you are, why you became involved, and also like, what is your business and what drew you into this industry, and what's the story behind the storyteller? You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So and how come you became a jewelry expert?
I got into jewelry not because of my love of jewelry, I will admit, but because at the time in my life, I didn't want to live on anyone's couch anymore, and I was looking for a job. That was really the start of it. And then what really brought me into it was the puzzle of business. So my end of things, I started out working for huge manufacturers of mass marketed jewelry that looked to last year's bestseller to change them to do it. And just the designers sat in the back room, and that was, and so as I became my own businesswoman and I understood what I wanted to do, when I finally launched my own online only and then online and offline jewelry boutique, it was to do very much what I see you do, which is to amplify the signal to noise ratio for these amazing designers across the world that I had over the past 20 years, now 30 years, developed an eye for seeing those designers that have that fingerprint, that DNA that is non-derivative. It's something fresh. And so I took my business skills and my ability to see those designers pretty clearly to do the work that was not their work or their strength, which is, marketing them, amplifying them, creating a business that would make them more discoverable online. Now, this was back in 2010. So 10 million years ago, I started helping other businesses with how they launch and grow businesses. I like to share what I've learned, and I like to point out the hurdles and how to jump them or how to go around them for our clients. And I've just been really luxuriously fortunate with my 100% female team that these other great business brains throughout the industry, with ESG, merchandising, operations, retail, digital oversight, that they've been drawn to me, and we've come together as a collective of experts at Hill & Company that has, been really grateful to be, collaborative with some of the largest businesses in the industry, as well as some of the most inspirational, like Futura Jewelry, that does only 100% mercury-free mined gold from FairMined ecological certified gold. I then thought, wow, I knew what I didn't know, but there was also a ton of unknown unknowns. And I became a student of what is it that we need to do and what is going on. And I realized how little I knew. And so, I just turned 50 last year. I constantly want to remain a student, and I never want to be the smartest person in the room, which is why I called you. And I've seen you.
Amazing.
You were at presenting the businesses New York Lab. You put a stake in the ground about the type of businesses you do.
Yeah.
So tell me about you now.
So I have the business together with my sister.
Yep.
So it's my partner and sister, which is, just a huge privilege. For some weird reason, we both ended in jewelry in different jewelry sector in different places. Mm-hmm. At some point, she started a bit like you, which is also 100 years ago, being on Danish television, speaking about jewelry, speaking about trends, highlighting jewelry in the fashion magazines, because back then, also around 2000, there was not, focus on jewelry in the fashion magazines. Maybe they were a bit on a shoot somewhere in behind or whatever, but she, created a jewelry focus page in we didn't have Vogue in Scandinavia at those days, but the parallel Elle magazine and Costume and whatever magazines we have, right? Uh-huh. Anyway, so it's bridging that gap between fashion and jewelry without it being fashion jewelry, mm-hmm. Also with the respect of fine jewelry. Of course, also because there was a trend where you both saw jewelry more and more on the international catwalks. Mm-hmm. And also, the tendency of just having your diamond earrings or your diamond ring was slowly elaborating or growing into that even fine jewelry you would, change and wear in terms of what your clothes were or where you were going or whatever. Anyway, long story short, she worked then also with number of jewelry designers where she was a consultant. I was head of communication marketing in a fine jewelry brand of Scandinavia called Ole Lynggaard Copenhagen.
Yes.
Which is super talented at being a part, of a design process within a family. Being a part of this, you just realize how much goes into one single design, how many molds, how many tests, how many tries, which, has made the whole copy market, even for me, I get so angry because it's really difficult to do it from the bottom and create something unique. It is. But there are so many talented, luckily. And Charlotte and I then created a physical platform, mm-hmm. which was an event or actually a jewelry fair during the Copenhagen Fashion Week, also during the London Fashion Week actually.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, so that was a physical get together where we presented all these designers to buyers and to the press, mm-hmm. because they were all writing about the same 10, right? They were all Pandora, Cartier, Tiffany's, blah, 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 whatever, the ones that they all know, mm-hmm. and the ones who had the big PR budgets. Mm-hmm. So we already there started the passion for the design, the craftsmanship, for some uniqueness. Mm-hmm. Fast forward, COVID, doing events, PR, gathering in a time like that was obviously just not that fun. Mm-hmm. So we looked at saying, why are we not taking everything online? I mean, where is this Farfetch or Etsy, or where is this for fine jewelry? Right. Obviously, Etsy is really orange and really cheap, but the idea of gathering not brands but designers. So mm-hmm. it seems like you actually come from the same place, right? With the passion for independent entrepreneurs, mostly female, funny enough, and gather them in a platform. So we kind of went out, got some funding, got that gradually, bit by bit, kind of convincing someone that this was a really, really amazing idea that could grow into a business.
Right.
And here we are today. We are obviously still on a huge growth journey. Right. But the fact of becoming the go-to, being able to have jewelry expertise and guiding customers, mm-hmm. in terms of what is 18 karat, or what is 14 karat, or why should I buy this instead of this? And truly guiding the customer. And then again, also representing all these unique designers who are so talented. But the fact of marketing, and spot on to what you said before, they don't know, and they don't have the capabilities or even the interest in marketing, or cracking through Google is like the worst nightmare ever, right? Even for us, but that's then our game. So the idea is to gather the best independent designers in the whole world and be able to ship from the whole world to the whole world. In a nutshell.
And all from Copenhagen.
And from Copenhagen. It's all from Copenhagen. So we're a small team. We're just 6 people now.
Wow.
We have a content team in India, and a content team in Germany as well, and some freelancers writing for us here in Copenhagen. But we are a small team running it all. And then the jewelry is sent from the jeweler to the customer, right? So it's a pure drop ship. So we don't hold stock, and we don't, what you call it, contain the designers. They could sell whatever jewelry they have to someone else as well.
Right.
As well as for
exclusivity. You don't limit them.
We don't limit them. The exact opposite. So we give them an extra opportunity to show their designs and tell their story.
Right.
And then sell, obviously, online. And so far it's going well, and it's super fun.
Right.
But constant, there is like things I did today I did not know yesterday. So.
Got it. No. That's so funny. I just wrote a newsletter yesterday where I said, kind of, holy shit, it's halfway through the year, and that went by like that. But I am 6 months smarter. And I feel like the clients we were serving in January, I feel like, oh, poor them, because I know so much more already, because I've been exposed to, I'm wringing life like a rag, and getting everything out of it. But it's my 30th year in jewelry and diamonds and gemstones. And I don't think I've learned as much as I have since 2019 to now as I did in the first 25 years. I mean, it's just I know exactly where you come from. And I think what you also said in the beginning is that the thing you get excited when you learn, right? I mean, there's constant things when we learn, meeting new designers, hearing their stories, hearing about how they source and what they do. And right. It's amazing. We had a client called Ocean Diamonds. They're off the coast of Namibia. But it is remarkable to then look at things like that and go, okay, but how are you powering the boats? And what is the CO2? What are the greenhouse gases? Like, so you still have to keep looking, even when the first initial brush of the paint says, oh yeah, that looks really like low impact, right? You have to keep asking those curious questions. But I always say be curious, not furious, right? Like ask those curious questions to make sure that there's other things. Because I like most of the general public in the American market, I think. Here's lab grown, just as an aside, they hear lab grown diamonds and they think, oh, that's greener and healthier because there's no mining, and some lab grown is greener and fabulous, more fabulous, but it depends on how they power the plants, right? And it depends on how they benchmark and monitor and audit their generation of and use of electricity and emissions. So it's really complicated, right?
And it's also, I guess, there is also a little step by step, right? Because some might not be perfect, but it's better than the alternative. So it's it's that constant balance, because then there's also the small mining versus reusable, recyclable gold, right? That it's two good things in each their ways, right? So, because we knew nothing about e-commerce and B2C. And even when we launched the first site in 2020, we still didn't know anything. Data within the jewelry industry online is so poor. Even the big brands are not that good at it, right? We've transformed into a 100% tech company.
When the phone started ringing, these were $500 million businesses, $200 million businesses. And I was going, what do they need me for?
Hi, Elle Hill here. Do you want to learn how to get on the phone with any buyer that you want to work with without an introduction or a referral? Click to get the downloadable that we've made for you that you can start using right away and will be really useful for your business and growing your revenue.
But this is part of what just to circle it back to the FairMined challenge, I didn't realize that they were, going out into the field, meeting and gathering the business intelligence about the artisanal miners, connecting them with one another, like the depth of the work that FairMined does was beyond my knowledge before I became involved in this and started interviewing the team over at FairMined. So maybe you knew more than me, but
no, I didn't know any. I didn't even know what they was when they even contacted me, and I was like, wow. How did you even find me?
Wow.
And even trying to spread the word here amongst our designers is definitely, I don't know if I would call it an uphill battle, but no one knows of them around here. So
yeah. Wow. And that's what I think, my life's work is the puzzle of diamond, gemstone, and jewelry businesses. So I consume a lot of information to stay abreast and to educate myself and to keep my finger on the pulse. And I don't know. So why would they know? Over time, in my little area of expertise and B2B and, helping businesses, because my business helps other businesses. Yeah. We live on LinkedIn as opposed to Instagram,
which is our world,
right? And over the time, like my team did a celebration when 10,000 people were following all these videos from my garden and stuff, and I realized I have a small, in the B2B world, it's a really niche, rich platform of people who are looking to learn from the stuff that I'm learning, So when Laura and I talked about this, I was like, this is a great opportunity because I'm going to learn as I go. I'm going to meet other women business people and hear what they've learned and how they got to where they are in their journey, because people do business with people. I don't care if it's a retailer or a business management consultant or even Nike at this point. Like, people want to know what's going on behind the scenes, right? So why not, meet and greet and learn a bit more about one another, and also about kind of our journey of educating ourselves more about the use of FairMined gold and how that supports so much good that's being done on the ground with people who otherwise, they're just surviving. They're not doing anything malicious. They're surviving.
They're literally
have another way.
Yeah.
But for the jewelry room, so did it go the transition from being a physical space at the fashion to online in 2020?
Yeah.
Really? So when did you launch the physical version?
That was it in 15, I think?
Got it. So that ticked over for 4 years before, now we have to pivot, right? That's an enormous, that's an enormous pivot. Did you already have a website of any sort?
Well, we actually had a digital press room, which was then something totally. So I think we were constantly trying to think in that phase, how can we actually grow, because the physical space has some natural boundaries in a sense. Also because we did not want to become a big fair.
Right.
Just
right.
because no one wants to come on a big fair because it's not charming, it's uninspirable, and it's, I don't know, I really don't get why no one has really managed to, even Basel in the old days, right? Some of it was, but the personality was totally lost there also, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so we were always limited with whatever space. So we found some amazing spaces in Copenhagen City, whether it was big galleries or old church, or, you know, we constantly kind of, you know, develop the cornflakes every half a year, more or less, right? To give a new experience, to make it fabulous, to see the jewelry in an inspiring, cool environment. It was also, you know, champagne, sushi. We had like small coffee. So there were so many things around it that it just made it fabulous. Anyways, but the limits and the boundaries within the space obviously did that it was difficult to kind of grow that much more. We could mainly have, you know, 20, 30 designers.
That's it.
And that was good and bad, right?
Yeah.
Because it did mean that when we had all the big, I mean, Net-a-Porter, Vogue, or Harvey Nicks, or whoever was coming, they did always meet everyone when they came, because there were only, so that was a good thing, right? If there had been 200, that would not have been possible. No. So anyway, so we had the thinking of going something, doing digital. We also had this digital press room, and then we had a I would say digital showroom, which we used where people could buy on the last two events. I think it was possible for guests to buy, because then we did a big B2C event at the end of everything, and, you know, invited special guests in.
Right. Okay.
So we had a little, but I would more call it a catalog than I would actually call it an online platform, right? Because we knew nothing about e-commerce and B2C. And even when we launched the first site in, was it April, May 2020?
Wow.
We still didn't know anything. So we've onboarded a partner, and obviously our team now are now becoming experts, because the thing is, actually, data within the jewelry industry online is so poor. Even the big brands are not that good at it, right? So there's no one who actually, but that's also because, I mean, obviously, except for the big ones, if Pandora are getting it, right? But even the big brands, it's about family, it's about storytelling, it's about the design. So they kind of forget that whole structured metadata. So we're and we were clueless to begin with, but as you say, learning day by day.
Yeah, that's how you grow. But I will tell you that I launched Hill & Company in 2012. So it was just after I launched my startup, and it was a startup. So I wasn't paying myself much money. So I said, I'll consult for some people to give myself some cash while I'm getting this thing off the ground, right? So my focus was split, obviously. And then we IPO'd that business in under 5 years, which was, you know, and I spearheaded it. So from San Francisco to Singapore, I mean, you know, I've, you know, written 132 decks, you know, changed, you know, between the, you know, the rounds of funding straight through to the IPO.
Exactly.
But what I didn't have was like any predecessor, you know what I mean? And I had jewelry, diamond background, but certainly not technology background, right? So when I hired a CEO and a COO to run that business, and I exited and moved my 4 kids and my husband from Hong Kong back to England, which I promised, I swore, and I'm good for my word. And the phone started ringing. It was because I've been banging this digital drum for so long, because I had cut my teeth. You know, when I would find somebody who was amazing at SEO, constantly quoted in the New York Times, I would call them up and go, I need to learn this, and can I work with you for a period of time? Do you know what I mean? Because I knew what I did not know, and I had to rapidly figure it out. And I think that my company, exploded in terms of growth over the course of COVID. Not that I would ever wish COVID on anyone.
No.
But we were trusted, deep industry specialization. And we've been banging the drum about how, people initiate and deepen relationships online now, right? But when the phone started ringing, I did say, like, what is this? Like, these were, $500 million businesses, $200 million businesses. And I was going, what do they need me for? They're the big guys, right? But you get behind the curtain, and it sounds like you've had some experience with this, and it is it's like a bifurcation of two issues. Either one, they were first movers, they were really early, and now they have a patchwork quilt of old technology that doesn't integrate well with the new technology that you really need to customize and personalize and show up in front of the people, right? Yeah. Or two, they were fat and sassy. They're big, they're popular, the brand name did it all, and they came late to the idea that you build communities like the one you are doing in the jewelry room, in your editorial section, and showing your life, and the look behind the curtain at you to create that authenticity and that connection. The storyteller, even the retailer, has to show who they are.
Yeah, because I think the retailers become lazy, right? Because they have just been, as you mentioned, fat and sassy for such a long time. So they've just become lazy. Their assortment, go into any jewelry store, I'm almost talking anywhere in the world. Seriously, it's just super boring. It's the same 15 brands.
Yeah. And look, you have one of, like, I'm your customer. so you're preaching to the choir with me, but I recognize, because, I still work with some mass market businesses that are, because they're extremely large. And then I work with, businesses with 3 people who are doing something so noble that I can't help but lend my expertise. My name's on the door, so I get to decide what I want to do and what my team focuses on, but it is still really lagging behind cosmetics and fashion by, I'd say, 20 years plus.
It is, because obviously we also meet a lot. Find jewelry online? Nah, I think not. I think people want to go into a store. And yes, of course, there's still a lot of people going, but that was how everyone said with shoes 5 years ago, right?
Yeah.
I think I need to try them first.
No, it's absolutely. I remember inside of our first 6 months, we sold a $16,000 piece online. No one knew who we were. We were brand new. We were carrying designers people had never really heard of, although they were amazing fonts of creativity. And then I was like, that was enough for me to say we were right all along. I have a question for you.
But I was just wondering, when did you sell your company? Or did you?
We went public in 2015.
And what was the name of that? Because that's not here. The name was
Plucka. And I will tell you the whole straight proof.
Yeah, because that sounds Plucka.
Plukka.
Okay, yeah.
And we were darlings of the media because we also
that was a brand. Did you produce jewelry yourself as well?
We did a little bit, like we had an essentials collection. So we did have private label manufacturers who were putting together Plucka basics and Plucka essentials, but primarily, like, we brought Suzanne Calan to Hong Kong, Yeprem, Michael Joseph, these are all the...
And you lived in Hong Kong?
Yeah, I lived in mainland China and Hong Kong for 10 years.
Wow.
So, but I had always promised my husband, by the time our eldest, because we have 4 kids, was going to go to high school, to secondary school, that I would get him back, because my husband writes books. He can go anywhere.
Okay.
So, but I'll tell you what happened with the demise of that business years after I had exited, is that they started demanding exclusivity of their designers.
Yeah.
And you tell me any retailer that's been in business for 5 years that can give 100% of the revenue to a designer in a year. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Not even Bergdorf Goodman, not even,
No.
no one offers, no one, it's so once there are shareholders and there are decision makers without the real deep understanding, it's also why our company works better than a business that's not specialized in jewelry. Once you don't know the idiosyncrasies of this highly fragmented fraternal industry, you make decisions based on, oh, we need exclusivity. So that, okay, well, all your designers are going to leave. Your creativity is going to go down. You're only going to have the desperate people, and you're not going to have the good jewelry.
Yeah,
and the board actually came back to ask me to return twice. And I said, I can't.
No,
I've already got
I'm on a new journey.
On $1 million consultancy. I can tell you what you're doing, but I can't return. And the company folded, I think, a couple of years ago. So it's hard to watch a baby rise.
And then go down, But at least you watch it rise. I guess that's the most important thing.
Yes.
And now you have a new baby. That is
now I have a new baby.
Also grown, I guess, or grown up.
And it's still growing. And we're still, benefiting from every client that we work with. We learn more about what we're applying and how it's working and how to be even better the next time. So I always feel like the prior year's clients got, a lesser version than I am today. You know what I mean? And I'd like to go back. But we do actually go back and work with our clients repetitive. Like Lunile asked us to come back again to help them again. And, so that makes you feel like, okay, good work for good people is our motto. And internally, you are enough. We all think like, why do they need me? But they need you, and they need me because you're steeped in it and you're bringing something very unique and insights that I don't want to sift through the thousands and thousands of designers in the world. If I can go to the jewelry room and look at that curated collection,
you got it, exactly.
My life is happy. That sounds like a glass of Chardonnay and a little zoom through there, a little retail therapy. Exactly. I mean, that's what great curation. That's a service. That's a unique solution. That's enjoyable and that's delightful. Like I think you guys have exactly. I didn't even realize obviously I've spent time. But I didn't realize you were so young as a business in terms of the trajectory and the maturity and the scaling and you must be in the midst of standard operating procedures and workflows and automation and
absolutely spot on. We're like everything we can automate, and this is again also it's the team we've brought on now is obviously amazing and absolutely fundamental to this journey, right? Because we constantly bring team on or people on who knows things that I don't know anything about. So it's just so nice to work around other talented people and also be able to attract the talented people, right? And have them on the journey, which is it's super fun. But the whole fundraising, the whole constant dilemma balance of growing but not spending too much, and again we are in that balance of no one knows who we are. But and again we have to get out there, so we have to
it's but it is the growth, but you have to watch the runway.
A constant hen or egg discussion every time we do something. And we do obviously focus on the fine jewelry, but we also do have a selective of cheaper items, which I think is also sometimes important in terms of the customers getting to know us and get the trust. So we see a tendency that they might do their first buy with something that is cheaper. And then the second buy would be more fine, right? So they need to just test, are they there? Who are they? And
Do you do pop-up live events still?
No.
No.
Not at all. I think I think we just realized that if we need to really succeed here, we had to focus 100%. So we killed the PR, we killed the event, we we kind of just zoomed in and focused, 500% on the online. I could see ourselves at some point again, maybe doing, you know, a pop-up thing in some big cities, whatever around. But that would then be for the end consumer, right?
Yeah, I know to great effect, marrying both the online and the offline really gives strength to both of them. We found to great effect with our clients, and I used to do it. That's where I first did it, was there. We were online only when we first started. This was my own company. I'll talk about my own company because I can. Yeah. But like, we did our first in-person event, and I remember that we sold $450,000 worth of merchandise in 4 hours. And at that point, that would have taken us like months.
Exactly. Yeah.
Months to sell. And we thought, maybe this needs to be peppered. And then we would see that we started doing it around the world, right? So we would do one in Australia. We'd do one in the Hamptons, you know, and what we would find is that then once they had gotten to kick the tires and touch it, and this was in my own business, so we're going back 10 years, then we would see the online orders start to come in.
Yeah.
Because we created that impression in the region. Yeah. You know, so it has to underpin a larger goal, obviously. Yeah. But, you know, I understand, like, what you focus on is what grows. And that is your way of really putting a laser-like focus on where you need to make progress and become better and sharper and faster. We have a lot of things in common from what you guys are doing, and with the benefit of some time evolved, you know, it's like 10 years apart. I hope to continue, you know, exchanging ideas, because it really does sound like, I'm like, your business model sounds like a brilliant one. It happened because you know.
But I can pick your brain there, Elle. I think you've probably done a lot of the mistakes that I'm doing now.
No, and I'm happy to, and I love it. You know, you lift everybody up. You know, the tide rises and it lifts everybody up. So I do hope that we continue, you know, carrying on the conversation, asking the questions, learning, participating, you know, elevating the awareness not only of the jewelry room, which is beautiful, and everybody should go over there and take a look right now. Your curation is really, really genius, and the delivery is delightful to look at. So it really is a beautiful site. And it's been a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for agreeing to let me interview you, you know, to share with our lovely community.
No, it's been amazing, and absolutely, I would love to continue the chat.
Thank you so much for your time today. I really enjoyed getting to talk to you.
The same. Take care.
If you like that video, you're gonna love the next one. It's full of our expertise and tips on diamonds, gemstones, and jewelry, growing your top line revenue and business strategy. Just click on the link, subscribe, and hit the bell button so that you'll be notified of our next videos, and give us a like. Bye for now.